Hello, it's Saturday. Bloody well love a Saturday, me. I'm Stace, the Stace half of Stace and Barry in the morning. I've said Stace too much, so now it's time to talk to Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi everyone. Did you say you've talked to Stace too much?
No, I said I've said Stace too much. Actually, I might have said I've talked to Stace too much. I'm very, it's been a week. It's been a week. My brain is mush.
It's been a week. It's been emotional.
Tease, replied Aunt Helga. Yeah, it's been a mad one at work and a bit of a mad one at home. And then also just, I'm a bit loopy as is.
Yeah. Put that all
So,
into a blender and it's just crazy times.
yeah, and that's how you end up saying Stace 57 times in a minute worth of podcasting. Cool. Anyway, hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. As previously explained to you before we started, I've got a whole cat situation going on at the moment, so it could kick off outside in the garden. I'm hoping I've taken precautions to stop next door's cat from kicking off with my two cats. The
Oh no.
last time they had a fight, it was like watching the end of episode 1 with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fighting Darth Maul.
See, do you know what I had in my head? I had like the Jets and the Sharks from West Side Story, and these cats just like circling each other with a knife.
No,
Dance fighting.
no, my two don't mess about. Proper just get stuck in. None of that.
No dance fighting for your
No
cats.
dance fighting. It's like, have it.
Fucking have it.
Yeah,
Meow.
you tart.
I tried to do a menacing meow and it didn't work.
Meow.
There you
You
go.
want some, you tart? Meow.
Meow.
Slag. We could do a whole episode of just like bad Cockney cat impressions.
Anyway.
Anywho, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about geeky related shenanigans.
Yeah, that's it. That's a word.
That's the word. That's a word. I'm having it.
That's both a word and the word.
Yeah. Is it a word? I think it is.
Oh, why have I forgotten his name? Shit.
I know,
You just
so
reminded me of the guy from Final Space, which is clearly what you were doing.
Yeah.
But I just cannot remember his name even a little bit. That's really bad.
No,
He's always got his tongue out. He's played by Will Forte. I know all these things about him except his fucking name.
Anyway.
Anywho, you're like a big important podcast man who's got other podcast recordings scheduled for later. So let's move the fuck on, shall we?
Yeah, to the trumpet, Stace.
Jazz. What segment are we doing?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if we needed the jazz because you did such a great job with the trumpet intro. I'll roll with it.
I like to
Because you've done such a great trumpet intro, I don't think I can start with music and musing. So,
all right.
how about we start with moments of geekdom, because that will give me a little bit longer to think of my pick of the fortnight.
Well, you wildly unprepared arsehole.
Yeah, that's how I roll. It's where I live. Am I an arsehole? I think I am.
Do I care? No, I don't. Am I rocking this scarf? Yes, I am.
So many people are just switching off in droves.
Yeah, they're like, what are you doing? You've all gone mad.
Yeah.
Please move along. Anywho, what were we doing? Oh yeah, moments of geek. Do you want to start? Bab. Yeah, Bab.
Yeah.
Go on then, Bab.
I've got two moments of geekdom from one film, so I'm cheating.
That
is cheating, so I might only pick one. The film is Superman 3.
Ooh.
Bold.
Them's fighting words.
Now, Superman 3 isn't necessarily a traditionally well-liked Superman film.
No.
I went to see this at the cinema as a young, I don't even know how old I was, teens maybe, I don't know. And when I watched it first time around, I was like, yeah, it's all right. Obviously, repeat viewings, that's been a bit of a sliding scale. However, apart from the moment of geekdom, geek them and a half because I want to get a nod into the fire chief. You know, there's a big fire in Superman 3 at the start.
Yeah.
Where he kind of where he freezes the top of a lake and then carries the lake back and it drops it.
I've completely forgotten about that, but that's actually rad. Look, man, that's intuitive thinking.
That is good thinking. That's good thinking. However, for me, there's a fire chief, right? Black fire chief. I don't know why it needs to be important that he's black, but I'm saying he's a black fire chief. And he literally only has one line in the film. And it's not true, he has a couple of lines, but he has one sort of big line where Superman's dropped the water and then he flies off. And then the chief sort of goes, in the script, it says, Chief says, that man's a miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quite a simple line. And yet, the way he delivers that line, he should have won an Oscar for Best Supporting Character in a film.
Oh, you know? I wish I could remember how it goes. I'm going to have to look that up after we finish.
You go look at it, because he flies off and he goes, that man's a miracle. God damn it, Joey. It makes you want to stand up and applaud. But that's not the scene. The scene I want to pick is the fight Superman has with himself.
Oh, okay.
Because I was thinking about this today and I was doing this whole parallels and how sometimes we are our own worst enemies, and I think I'm one of those. Certainly,
oh God, yeah.
Certainly from a creative point of view, I'm my own worst critic. And I often used to imagine as a kid like that there'd be an evil version of me and I'd have a beard and blah blah blah. And I think so many TV shows and films have done that kind of trope where, you know, the hero or the heroine has a kind of evil side to them and that evil side comes out and whatever. But given how good Christopher Reeve was as Superman in the first two films and making you believe that this is the best man in the world, not just because of his superpowers, but just the way he was.
Mm.
And then to sort of take him and turn him into a complete arsehole. And he was just an arsehole. He wasn't even, what I quite like about that Superman was, he wasn't even like, I mean, he was evil, but he was just he was just a shit. Because there's a bit right in there before they have the fight where he's just sitting in a bar and he's at the end of the bar drinking. And he's got like 5 o'clock shadow and they've tanned him up as well. So he actually looks different. And he's just flicking peanuts into the mirrors.
Prick.
And then, and you just think, why? And I think even the guy who owns the bar is like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. What's he did? Obviously, he didn't say fuck kids, but, you know. He's flicking peanuts, and then he melts the mirror with his heat vision. And I'm just like, what an arse. And he does that bit where the guy's running up with the Olympic torch, and then he blows out the Olympic torch. Dick. And then he pushes the Leaning Tower. In fact, I'm changing my moments of geekdom to arsehole Superman. That's my moment of geekdom. And then he pushes the Leaning Tower of Pisa straight. What an arse!
What an absolute dick.
And I kind of feel like it was, thinking back to it now, it was kind of like bad Superman of his time. Because I feel now if they did it now, he'd be like ripping people's heads off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be Brightburn.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? This is a much more sedate evil Superman for a more sedate time. But he was just also Superman. But that fight was brilliant, and I remember as a kid when he wins, he sort of strangles him, and then he sort of comes back into him, and then he opens the chest, and the music goes. I remember the cinema applauding.
Yeah.
I remember that really, and then he sort of flies off, and then he kind of it's an old tanker. There's a massive oil spill which he caused when he was dickish Superman, and then he sort of goes and blows all the oil back into the tanker. I'm not quite sure how that works, but anyway, blows all the oil back into the tanker, and then he seals it shut, and then he kind of like uses his heat vision to seal it all up, and then he waves to the tanker guys as he flies off. The same tanker guys that he fucked over a few days earlier, and they're like, hey guys, hey, I'll be like, what a dick.
He thinks I've forgotten, but I fucking haven't.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He really thinks he's just gonna like scoop all that oil and then just fuck off, and then we're gonna be all right with it. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not having it. I'm gonna go have a word with Zod. He'll sort him. Anyway,
That is pretty amazing.
uh,
To be fair, I've always liked the idea of like characters having to fight themselves in things.
mm,
Just because I think it's like it's a fairly cool metaphor. Because like you were saying, most people stand in the way of themselves, probably quite frequently, if we're honest about it. Um, but also there's the fact of like in that sort of a situation, it's like, well, they're evenly matched also, so what the fuck is going to happen?
yeah,
And I really liked the sort of twist on it in Scott Pilgrim when he goes to fight himself, and then actually they end up having a conversation, and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty cool. I don't know, let's get poutine sometime."
I think for me, if I had to fight, it would depend what version of myself they got.
Mm.
I think me now fighting against me now, I feel we could probably do the sit down, have a bit of a chat or whatever. But if you got 20 to 30-year-old bro, Jesus, I'd have to just hit the chair because that guy'd be like a rabid
Just
dog. Do you know?
throw shit at him from
Yeah,
afar.
do you know what I mean? Ah! Slag! Ah! Just hose him down or something. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like if I was fighting any version of myself, we'd both just be crying in a corner. Like, I don't want to have a fight. I'm so scared. That'd be me.
Yeah.
But I am a human disaster.
Wow.
My moments of geek is actually fairly recent. Have you seen the movie Bumblebee?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, it's no surprise to anybody that's ever heard me say words about Transformers ever that I fucking hated those Michael Bay Transformers movies. Like they're bad. They're really bad. And like more power to you if you like them. That's fine. I'm not saying you're an idiot if you do enjoy them. But to me, it was like bad stories, bad acting, barely like not enough robots. And even when there were robots, it was like, it's a bit difficult to show this transformation because it's a real big robot. So we'll just like hide it behind a tree or something. Like it was just not what I wanted from a Transformers movie. Bumblebee, however, is downright fucking great. Um, it's like a very obviously a family movie, so it's not like big scary robots doing big scary things. But the opening to the movie actually takes place on Cybertron, and
Oh,
you actually get to see Cybertron quite a bit. There's a lot of robots that everybody loves just appearing there, having a big old chat. You actually get a proper like sense of the stakes. Because I don't know about you, with the Bay Transformers movies, it felt to me like they just showed up on Earth and were like, "Oh, our planet's a fucking disaster, so, like, so we're just going to have yours." But there was like no real stakes because we got no real concept of how much of a disaster Cybertron actually was, or like what was even happening. They
yeah.
were just like chasing some, I don't know, fucking glasses on eBay or whatever the shit. So like Bumblebee, those opening 10 minutes were like, when you see a film that you've been. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to it really because I thought, it's bound to be better than the Bay movies, but it's probably still just going to be like, robot, whatever. But those 10 minutes, I was legitimately excited. Then I was like, oh my god, this isn't what I was expecting. I can't believe I'm seeing Cybertron. This is amazing, and I got properly like geeky giddy about it. And so yeah, like I would wholeheartedly recommend, even if you hated the other Transformers movies, checking out Bumblebee because it's like it's sweet, it's funny, the effects are like 1,000% better than anything they did in the Michael Bay. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen the last three, maybe four. I think I got halfway through the third one and noped right on out of there.
I've seen the first two, and I think 10 minutes of the third. Like the last 15 minutes of the third one.
Like even the Dinobots couldn't bring me back to the Bay franchise. But Bumblebee is like it's great. It's really good. I would wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody who enjoys fun and action and robots because there's actual fucking robots. um, Yeah, it's really good. And those opening to be fair, I probably could have watched a whole film of those opening 10 minutes. To be fair, but yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but we.
Cool. Um,
Pardon me. I'm so sorry. Did a
do
little burp. Shall I do a trumpet?
a trumpet.
Okay. Pick of the fortnight. I'm going to force you to pick something.
Oh, no, god damn it.
Ha You shouldn't have left it to me to choose.
No, I know. There's something I did want to say, but I was trying to see if there was a press release about it. Oh, yes.
Oh, go on then.
So this isn't what I was going to pick, but I'm going to pick it. I've still got one episode to watch of this. It's a 6-part BBC drama serial. It's
Ew.
about as posh as I get.
What?
Yeah, which stars Holiday Granger and Callum Turner, and it's being dubbed a surveillance thriller, and it's called The Capture. Have you heard of it?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so the blurb is when soldier Sean Emery's conviction for a murder in Afghanistan is overturned due to flawed video evidence, he returns to life as a free man with his young daughter. But when damning CCTV footage from a night out in London comes to light, Sean's life takes a shocking turn and he must soon fight for freedom once again. With DR Rachel Carey drafted in to investigate Sean's case, she quickly learns that truth can sometimes be a matter of perspective. Yeah, so this is like a proper twisty turny conspiracy thriller that you could call it The Capture, aka we're all fucked.
Great. Can't wait.
Yeah, yay. But I was a bit reluctant to watch it because I thought, this is going to be one of these really heavy BBC gritty dramas that makes you want to just go, oh my god, the world is a giant trash fire.
Yeah.
And it kind of certainly has elements of that, but the way the story unfolds, it quickly turns into something that's so kind of random and like ludicrous, but in a good way, that you can't not help but like it.
Yeah.
And it's got loads of twists and turns. A couple of things that happen in there I didn't see coming. I'm not saying that I'm the king of like spotting twists, but I am. And most of these I didn't see coming. So like I say, I've got one episode to watch. It's also got the I've forgotten his name now, the guy who used to play Hellboy.
Ron Perlman.
Yes.
Oh, sweet as
Yes.
pie. I love that
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, you'll love him in this as well. He's good.
Good times.
So should you watch The Capture? I think you should.
People are going to get so sick of this. Do we care? No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Nice, that sounds good. To be fair, I could do with some more like. I was just going to say I could do with some more TV shows to watch. No, I couldn't. I've got like the world's biggest list of shit to watch. Good God. But if it's only 6 parts, then that might bump it up the list, to be fair.
Yeah, likewise. I've got so much stuff to watch.
Oh, honestly. Well, I'm going to give you another thing that you need to watch.
Okay, unless I've already watched it.
Well, maybe. My pick of the fortnight is technically cheating because it's not from the last fortnight. It's from 2017, but I've only just watched it, so it counts.
It's not from the last fortnight. It's from 2 years ago.
It's from the fortnight of the year or something.
If we're going to go down that road, it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It's a Japanese film called Kamera o Tomeruna, which in English means don't stop the cameras, but it's being known in English as One Cut of the Dead. Don't know if you've seen it, heard of it.
No.
Okay, well, me and Rich watch this because every October we like to do a spooky movie a day, because we're weird like that, and we're trying to watch spooky movies we've not seen before a day this year. And this one popped up. I don't know how Rich got recommended it, but it popped up because it's like all of a sudden become incredibly. I don't know if it was like released on a streaming service or so. Oh yeah, it must have been because that's how we watched it on Shudder or whatever it's called. Anyway, One Cut of the Dead is a zombie movie, but don't let that put you off.
Okay.
I know it's an oversaturated genre. I know that. But this film is wildly original. I'm not going to say pretty much anything about it. It is a film about people making a zombie movie, and then a zombie apocalypse happens in the middle of it. And that's all I'm going to say. It doesn't sound good from those words, but hear me out, guys. It's way more than that. But if I were to say any of what the more bits were, then it would totally ruin it for you, because it is a film you absolutely need to experience firsthand. Like, we were watching it, and for the first half an hour, I was like, "This isn't that good, Rich. Why have you made me watch this? I don't like you anymore as a person." And that's a joke. I love him. But yeah, so like I was not on, and then the stuff happened, and I was like, oh, I am 100% on board with this. This is mad and brilliant, and I love it. It is so good. Please watch it. It's good. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're sick of like standard regular old zombie movies, then I would wholeheartedly recommend this, because it is not at all.
Okay. What's it like on the gory stakes?
Um,
I don't like gore.
not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it depends on what your tolerance level is, because like I'm the kind of person who, yeah, I can watch pretty much anything gory. I don't care.
Okay.
It's really strange. I'm one of these people who, like, I will happily watch like the Hellraiser when people get like torn apart by hooks on chains, but then I'll see like an episode of ER and somebody has a needle and I'm vomiting like, oh.
So what you're basically saying is you're a shit barometer for me to use.
Absolutely,
really.
yes.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend like going online to try and find out more about this movie though, because then it might spoil it for you. And I really think you need to just like watch it. But yeah, if you feel like being spooked, because it's spooky month, Spooktober or whatever it's called.
You just made that up.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Cut of the Dead.
Cut of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'll give it a look-see from behind the sofa.
Honestly, it's not. I don't think it's that bad at all.
We've already established. What have we already established, Stace?
Yeah, but remember that a lot of the zombie bits are going to be very obviously makeup, because it's people making a zombie movie. So, like, a lot of the gore isn't even gore. Not that in most movies it's real gore. Like, imagine that if that was the case. Yeah, we're just going to tear you in half, Fred, do you mind? Action. Oh, I fucked it up. I can't do it again.
Next.
Speaking of next, so let's move on to musical musing, shall we?
Do it.
Hi.
Nice.
Thanks. I'll let you go first on this one, because I was just talking a lot about zombies. My mouth's gone dry. Nah.
So this one is a song, or book, or play.
One word.
Give us a clue. Yeah, so
it would be so stupid to try and play charades on a podcast.
Yeah. Could we do it? I think we could. So this musical musing is from a film. I don't know if I've picked this one before, so apologies if I have, and if I have.
Ask me. Tough. I've got a catalogue of everything we've picked before. That's not a lie. I have written everything down.
Yeah. Have you got it to hand in the next 10 seconds?
No, it's downstairs.
Right. So this is from a film that we both have seen, and I believe we both enjoyed.
Ooh, that's pressure on me.
I know. The film is The Equalizer.
Oh, yeah, boy. I love that film.
Cool. So this piece of music is taken from the climax of that film, which I like to call "This is what happens when you don't listen to people," or as my mum used to say, "If you can't hear, you must feel." And this is from the climactic scene where the Russian hit team, I don't want to spoil it, people, but they basically go into the supermarket where McCall, the Equalizer, aka Denzel Washington, works, and it doesn't go quite to plan for them, and which is putting it mildly. And I have to say, I'm usually against actual music, as in song music, being used to sort of accompany action scenes. Because
Yeah.
that's just me. I like orchestral stuff. However, I don't think I've ever heard a piece of music fit so perfectly to people getting the F upped as this piece of music is. And the piece of music is by Zach Hemsey, and it's called Vengeance. And some of the highlights, the lyrics are, "You're gonna die alone, you're gonna die alone, and I will have vengeance." That should pretty much give you a sense of what's going down.
Yeah. Denzel Washington really puts on a clinic on how to fuck people's shit up with objects in a store.
I could never ever go into B&Q in the same way.
Oh, mate. I'm looking at everything like it's a weapon whenever I'm in a shop now.
No, now I'm looking at whenever people serve me in B&Q or I ask someone for something, I'm like, I mean, I'm polite anyway. I'm not I've worked in the service industry. I know what it's like, so I'm polite anyway. But I'm now extra polite because I don't know if I'm talking to like the British version of the Equalizer. It'd be like, I don't know, the sanitizer or something. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. About to get your butt handed to you in a home base.
Yeah. Yeah. No one wants that. No one.
I'm gonna have to watch that scene again as well now after we finished, because I don't remember the song, but it's been about 5 years since I saw the film. So
the minute that music starts up, they haven't even started, the guy hasn't even started singing. The music's just starting and it's a proper hit. And what I quite like as well, like, it's one of those films which you don't often get where like the villain actually doesn't underestimate the guy he's up against.
Yeah. Because
he kind of knows what Denzel's deal is. He's like, you know what? If I'm going to roll up there, I'm taking boys with me. Do you know what I mean? There's no one-on-one shit. I want 6 guys. I want them badass. One of them's got to be bald with a kind of big moustache. I want top guys. You know what I mean? And you just get a sense that they actually know what they're doing when they go in there. They're not cannon fodder, but it just goes to show just how good the Equalizer is because, just outclassed.
I love that film.
If I'd be one of those guys, I would have just been, I'm out. Would you mean you're out now? I'm done.
Mate, the life of a henchman is not the life for me. Like every time I'd be like, what am I doing? Because there's going to be like a Captain America or an Equalizer or just, some like schmo who's going to end up being the absolute bane of my existence, and I'm going to die.
You know what, right? There's it's the scene in Captain America Winter Soldier where he's in the lift and there's like 30 guys in the lift with him. I'm exaggerating, it's probably about 10, but you know what I mean. And he sort of says, before we get started, does anyone get out? And I'd be like, bing!
Yes, please. I've chosen the wrong way in life. I'm just going to go and live on a farm. See ya.
I mean, you could do that in that film because that film's quite a serious film. But I would still be laughing now if someone had pressed the button and the biggest dude just said, "Excuse me," and just got out.
Good luck, Captain. Just walks out.
It's like the guy in John Wick where he's like, "Why don't you take the night off?" Thank you, Mr. Wick. Fuck this shit.
I am out of here.
And you never see him again in any of the John Wick films. He's just gone. They should do like a sort of spin-off film where he's just like a travel guide, just going to different holidays. He's
just like living on a farm and he's whittling for a little. He's just whittling these little figurines for a laugh.
Someone goes, "Yeah, John Wick's out of control. Would you just come back?" Nope. So, the end. Anyway,
would you back in the henchman crew? Nah, I'm done, mate.
Yeah. See, I've got I'm going to leave most of this in. B, I almost thought there's a whole podcast of just like looking at different henchmen in films and their decision-making processes.
Oh dear. Well, my musical musing is nowhere near as amusing. I mean, it's not sad either. I decided to go on a bit of a theme, and I thought, hey, why don't you choose a song from the Transformers soundtrack because it was like the only good thing about the Michael Bay movies. So I did. I chose a piece
We got
called.
the touch. Huh?
I wish it was You Got the Touch. I regret all of my decisions in life that brought me to here now. No, I chose a piece called Arrival to Earth. It's by Steve Jablonsky. Yeah, it's a badass fucking epic piece of orchestral flamboyancy that I just like. Every time I hear that song, like, I don't know, I just sort of imagine what the Transformers movies could have been. That's the one. So, yeah, it's just like, it's just so epic. Like every time I've got a play. Sadly enough, I've got a playlist of my OST favourite songs. Just for when I'm feeling like I need some music, but I don't want to pay attention to lyrics.
Yes.
Get distracted by lyrics. And every time this one comes on, I sort of stop what I'm doing because I'm like, oh, this is a really fucking good piece of music.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what I like about Steve Jablonsky is he's got this really good way of sort of making things sound a bit sort of cybernetic or mechanical or what have, because he did the soundtrack to the two Turtles movies as well, the two live action, like newer live action ones, and he did a really cracking theme for like the Shredder that was very sort of metallic and like clangy. Is that a word I can use about music? But at the same time, it's like got these big like sweeping strings and like beautiful. Oh, it's powerful stuff, man. And
yeah.
It's wonderful. It's like literally the only thing I enjoyed about those movies is all of that music.
That is a fantastic choice. I love that piece of music, and I love how it builds on itself.
Yeah.
Which is the scene that it's used in is obviously where it's Optimus is sent a signal out into space, and it's all the Transformers coming to Earth. But it's the way it starts quietly, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it uses the same musical motif, but kind of builds each time it uses it, and it gets louder, gets louder, and it just becomes this epic beast of a piece of music. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, it's the other thing as well for me is that it has a really good association in my head because they played it at the first time I went to Auto Assembly, which was 2014, I think, Transformers convention in Birmingham, and they played it on the opening day when they introduce all of the guests and bring them up on stage, and this song was playing as everybody was like coming in and like waving at people and stuff, and every time I hear this song now, I'm sort of transported back to there, and that was like the weekend that I met Townsend Coleman and Peter Spellos, and like God, it was just like a really brilliant weekend, and so like it has this really lovely association in my head as well, on top of being like a cracking piece of music. So yeah, that was my musical music.
Nice one.
On that note, let's fucking skedaddle, mate. You've got important other podcasts to do.
I've got podcasts in the fire.
Sure.
That just sounds rubbish.
Oh well, hey, this has been Stace and Barry in the morning, your Saturday morning guide to geeky twattery. I've been Stace, he's been Barry, and never forget that you got the touch. You got the power. Yeah.